The Young and the Restless spoilers shock preview week of December 16th to 20th, 2024. The complex dynamics of Ian Ward and Jordan, allies or prisoners of circumstance? The relationship between Ian Ward and Jordan has become a focal point of intrigue and tension in The Young and the Restless. Once allies, their bond is now strained to the breaking point, revealing a toxic dynamic filled with manipulation, fear, and desperation. Ian sees Jordan as nothing more than a tool to execute his plans, dismissing her autonomy and humanity entirely. For Jordan, being tied to Ian has turned into a waking nightmare, one she would escape at any cost, even if it meant returning to prison. Ian Ward's control over Jordan. Ian Ward has always been a master manipulator, using fear and coercion to control those around him. To him, Jordan is less a partner and more a pawn, someone to bend to his will regardless of her own desires or safety. His complete disregard for Jordan's protests or emotional state demonstrates the depths of his cruelty. When Jordan dared to refuse Ian's demand to murder Sharon, the consequences of her defiance were immediate and terrifying. Ian's rage, cold and calculating, was enough to shake her to her core. His expression, a mask of controlled fury, left Jordan trembling with fear. It was in this moment that Jordan's vulnerability became painfully apparent. She broke down in tears, openly pleading for an escape from the horrors of her situation. "I can't do this anymore," she sobbed, clutching her head as Ian loomed over her. "I'd rather go back to prison than stay here with you." Ian's response was chillingly dismissive, as though her cries were nothing more than background noise. "You don't get to decide when this ends," he said, his voice devoid of empathy. "You're in this because I put you here. You'll leave when I say you can." Jordan's terror is palpable, and her wish to return to the structured confines of prison reflects just how unbearable her life with Ian has become. While Ian views her as a dispensable asset, Jordan sees herself as a prisoner, trapped in a game where the rules are set by a man devoid of morality. Phyllis's obsession with Sharon's hypnosis. Meanwhile, in another corner of Genoa City, Phyllis Summer's relentless curiosity is causing ripples of its own. She remains highly skeptical of Sharon's claims of innocence, especially those rooted in her hypnosis sessions. For Phyllis, the idea that Sharon could remember details from the night of Heather's presumed death through hypnosis is too convenient, and far too suspicious. Determined to uncover what she believes is Sharon's elaborate ploy, Phyllis has set her sights on the place where the hypnosis sessions are conducted. Her plan is simple: infiltrate the sessions and expose what she assumes is Sharon's deception. However, there's one significant obstacle standing in her way: Alan, the therapist overseeing Sharon's treatment. Alan, well aware of the dangers of hypnosis, has made it clear that the sessions must remain private. He warns that any interruptions during the process could have catastrophic consequences. If Sharon's hypnotic state is disturbed, it could trap her in the recesses of her own mind, leaving her unable to wake up. Alan's grave warning has given Nick Newman additional cause for concern. "Phyllis, stay out of it," Nick demanded, confronting her during an argument at Society. "This isn't just about Sharon, it's about her safety. You can't just barge in there and risk her life because you don't believe her." But Phyllis, as stubborn as ever, isn't so easily deterred. "Nick, you can't seriously believe this is real," she snapped back. "This whole hypnosis thing is just another one of Sharon's stunts. If I don't get to the bottom of it, no one will." Nick, however, stood firm. "I mean it, Phyllis. If you go anywhere near that session, I'll make sure you're the one answering to the police." Will Phyllis cross the line? Despite Nick's warnings, Phyllis's curiosity burns like a fire she can't extinguish. Her determination to discredit Sharon is as much about protecting her family as it is about her own deep-seated resentment toward her longtime rival. The question is, will Phyllis's obsessive need to uncover the truth lead her to make a reckless decision? Should Phyllis interfere in the hypnosis session, the consequences could be dire. Alan's cautionary words are not to be taken lightly. Sharon's fragile state during hypnosis makes her vulnerable to even the slightest disruption. If Phyllis were to burst into the session, the resulting chaos could leave Sharon trapped in her own subconscious, unable to wake up, or worse, permanently psychologically damaged. Yet, Phyllis isn't one to back down from a challenge, and the stakes are too high for her to walk away. Her internal conflict is clear. Does she risk it all to expose Sharon, or does she heed Nick's warning and step back, knowing the damage she could cause? The ripple effects of Ian's and Phyllis's actions. The tension between Ian and Jordan mirrors the broader chaos surrounding Sharon and Phyllis. Both storylines are marked by manipulation, distrust, and the potential for irreversible consequences. If Ian continues to pressure Jordan, her breaking point may arrive sooner rather than later, leading her to either turn on Ian or make a desperate move to escape his grasp. Ian's ruthlessness knows no bounds, and Jordan's fear for her life could push her to make decisions that ripple through Genoa City. Meanwhile, Phyllis's possible interference in Sharon's hypnosis session could become the tipping point for her relationships with Nick, Daniel, and the rest of the community. If she disrupts the session and something goes wrong, Phyllis could find herself alienated even further from those she holds dear. On the other hand, if her suspicions prove correct, she could expose Sharon in a way that changes everything. What lies ahead? The intertwined fates of Ian, Jordan, Sharon, and Phyllis promise a volatile future for Genoa City. Key questions remain unanswered. Will Jordan find the strength to defy Ian completely, or will his control over her push her into further darkness? Can Phyllis resist her obsession, or will she risk everything to sabotage Sharon's hypnosis session? If Sharon's hypnosis reveals more critical information, will it vindicate her or deepen the doubts surrounding her claims? And finally, will Ian's malevolent plans unravel, or will he continue to manipulate events to his advantage? As the characters face these pivotal moments, the stakes are higher than ever. Genoa City is on the brink of seismic changes, and the choices made in the coming days will leave a lasting impact on everyone involved. Stay tuned to see how these explosive storylines unfold. Power plays, promises, and pricey deals, tensions rise in Genoa City. The delicate power dynamics in Genoa City took another sharp turn when Kyle Abbott made a bold move that left Victor Newman fuming. Declaring his intention to bring Claire into his home, Kyle essentially announced a new era of independence, one in which Victor's presence and influence no longer hold weight. Claire, armed with a new job and a fresh perspective, seems ready to cut ties with the Newmans in favor of a simpler, more fulfilling existence. Jack and Diane couldn't be more delighted with this turn of events. Claire's decision to move in with them represents a renewed sense of family and stability. Jack, having learned from past mistakes, has chosen to trust Kyle's judgment fully. Instead of micromanaging or imposing his own agendas, he's encouraging Kyle to think and act for himself. The result is a more confident, assertive Kyle who feels empowered to carve out his own path. Jack's hands-off approach hasn't gone unnoticed, and Diane looks on proudly, convinced that this is precisely how young men learn and grow. While the Abbotts celebrate their new living arrangement, the Winters clan faces a conflict of a different kind. Nate and Lily have locked horns over the recent revelations involving Damien. According to Denise, a source whose credibility is yet to be established, she knows the exact location of Nate's younger brother. But Denise isn't interested in charity, she wants compensation, and a large amount at that. Her clever negotiation has turned Nate into a bundle of nerves. He's desperate for information, willing to open his checkbook if it means reuniting with his long-lost sibling. But Denise, shrewd to the core, seems less interested in a straightforward transaction and more inclined to push for the highest possible price. Lily is far from convinced. To her, the entire situation reeks of deceit. Where is Denise's proof? Why has she chosen this particular moment to come forward, and why does the price keep inflating? In Lily's mind, the entire thing is a scam, someone looking to exploit Nate's desperation, playing on his emotional vulnerability in hopes of securing a hefty payout. Tensions escalated as Lily confronted Nate with these concerns, her voice clipped and urgent. "Nate, can't you see what she's doing?" Lily demanded, her eyes flashing. "This woman's taken your emotional state and turned it into a bargaining chip. Don't you realize how easy it would be to feed you false leads just to pocket your money?" Nate, visibly rattled, shot back, "Lily, I can't just ignore this. If there's even a chance Denise knows where Damien is, I have to follow it up. This isn't a game to me, it's about family. To Lily, however, it's just too convenient. Denise's timing, her lack of credible proof, and her escalating financial demands feel orchestrated, like someone who knows exactly how to push Nate's buttons. She fears that if Nate caves to Denise's demands, he'll be left with empty coffers and no closer to finding Damien. Worse yet, giving in to these terms could encourage even more opportunists to crawl out of the woodwork, each with their own fabricated leads and ruses. While the Winters family feud intensifies behind closed doors, the rest of Genoa City watches the shifting alliances with a mix of curiosity and concern. Victor's anger over Claire's move is palpable, but neither Jack nor Kyle seems inclined to care. Claire has made her choice, and the Abbotts are more than happy to accommodate. For them, this shift feels like a small but significant victory, one that tilts the scales of influence away from Victor's iron grip. Meanwhile, Nate's moral and emotional quandary has become a flashpoint. Will he succumb to Denise's demands, fueled by the sliver of hope she offers about Damien's whereabouts? Or will he heed Lily's warnings and refuse to be baited by a potential scam? As the holidays and the New Year approach, tension and uncertainty hang in the air. Families are being reshaped, loyalties tested, and fortunes gambled on half-truths and whispered promises. Kyle's declaration may have provoked Victor now, but in time, will it herald a more balanced future for the Abbotts? And can Lily and Nate find common ground before Denise's demands tear their family apart? In Genoa City, change is constant, and resolutions are never neat or simple. The events unfolding hint at both liberation and conflict, some breaking free from old masters, others ensnared in new and treacherous bargains. For everyone involved, the upcoming weeks promise revelations, reckonings, and the chance to redefine what family truly means.